This is a standard case of rich people ripping off the poor. The Downtown Development Corporation consists of major business and civic leaders, none of whom are poor, and almost all of whom don't live in the downtown.
I thank God that at Casa Maria, the poor people have friends like Bill Risner, the lawyer, and Jody Gibbs, the architect, because they were smart enough to say, hey, go down to the city clerk and ask them for all the documents and get the contract between the city and the DDC. So we did that. We got the contract. Jody's got it in his hot hand. This hotel cannot be sold without the approval of HUD and the city of Tucson, and that means the mayor and council. So yesterday, Karen Ulick got at the council meeting said that this issue is going to be on the city council agenda for November 24th, next Tuesday.
When the city gave $200,000 to do this building, they gave $200,000 specifically for this building to be renovated into 42 units of housing for poor people who would receive a HUD subsidy. The 42 people that live here are all old, many handicapped, some mentally ill, and significantly minority. The federal government pays the city of Tucson $450 every month for their rent. The people living here pay less than $100 a month. We need tens of thousands of these units. 21% of the people in the city are in poverty, 21%, that's over 250,000 people, and 48% of the people in the city are renters.
Steve Leal was not able to be here today, but he sent me a copy of a memo that he sent more than a year ago to my kind that apparently there was no response for. But the question was, why was the Downtown Development Corporation created? Did the city give it money? Did the city give it land? It was totally a creation of the city. The money came from the city. Land came from the city. And now this money will go to help the insiders to work on their next deal.
Let's go further on with the plot. The Downtown Development Corporation is tired, so a new group of business guys called the Downtown Partnership are there. They've come in, and the city has said they're going to give the assets of the Downtown Development Corporation to the Downtown Partnership. There's a problem, however. In the contract between the city and the Downtown Development Corporation, the original group of flunkies, they cannot sell this building without the city's permission. That means if this building gets sold and doesn't stay in affordable housing, it will be the responsibility of the city of Tucson and the business guys who are involved.
It's very important that we maintain the affordable units in our downtown. Slowly but surely, we've been losing units to new development. And we cannot, as a city of Tucson, we cannot let it just go by. We need to be able to participate as mayor and council, participate and plan for the future of our downtown, making sure that we're not just maintaining affordable units, but that we're creating and that we're helping create more so that we can have as many people as we possibly can be able to live in our downtown and enjoy our downtown.
The city officials in housing, Albert Elias, and the former director of community services, Emily Nottingham, have said very clearly that they can continue the HUD subsidy, so there's absolutely no reason to sell the building. In the newspaper, the director of the Downtown Partnership, Glenn Lyons, who's from Canada and has only been in Tucson a couple of years and who's paid over $100,000 a year, he's saying they have to sell it. They don't have the money to improve it. So we had the person that ran the original numbers for the city that put the deal together, Jeannie Shaw. She's an excellent financial advisor and analyst. She's run the numbers, and there's more than enough money in the money that HUD pays to renovate the exterior of the building. What's the condition of the building? Over $1 million was put into the building 15 years ago. It's essentially in excellent shape. There are cosmetic things. The exterior plaster should be redone. The roof will need to be repaired at some point, and some of the kitchen appliances will need to be repaired. But it's in very good shape, and HUD certifies that every single year.
The DDC has been unwilling to talk to the folks that are out here on the street. Well, you know what? It's nice that they have friends at the county. It's nice that they have friends at the city. We all want to be good. But you know what? You got to deal with people on the street at some point, and that's us. And that's responsibility to all of us who have made downtown what it is today and what it will be in the future.
The DDC is a product of the first go-around of Rio Nuevo. We've seen what happened with the second go-around, and we need to give our city council a spine to let them know that they need to say no, that it's time to stop rolling over. And the downtown partnership is a con game. This downtown partnership put out a series of recommendations for what ought to be done downtown. 6 of those recommendations was the city should sell all of its the land that it owns in the downtown, including almost half of the Ronstadt Transit Center, which would wipe it out.
Lastly, let's look at what the Articles of Incorporation of the Downtown Development Corporation say. They say that they cannot liquidate their corporation without giving all of the assets to the city. And it appears they're giving all of their assets to the Downtown Partnership, which has said they do not want poor people in the downtown. They don't want the transit center in the downtown. They want essentially to develop the downtown for wealthy people and yuppies at the expense of the 21% of the people in the city who are in poverty. It's the fox guarding the chickens, and I would suggest people try to make a few comments at the public hearing this coming Tuesday night to the City Council saying, do not sell the Coronodo, keep it in affordable housing, do not give any money to the Downtown Partnership. They do not have the interests of at least 21% of the people at heart. And if we expand it to middle income people in addition to the poor, I don't think they have the interest of the 80% of the people in the city.
So I sent a letter to the Downtown Corporation saying, what studies did you done? What have you relied on? How did you come up with those recommendations that everyone with a brain like Jerry or half a brain like some others know that when the market's down and nobody's building in anything, is that the time to sell to speculators at rock bottom prices? What did you base that on? Nothing. They had no studies, nothing behind it. They had a recommendation that the city should make it a policy that new projects should not have low-income housing in it in the downtown area. That's a recommendation. What did they base that on? Nothing. But what they really base their decisions on is having lunch with the right guy that scratches the back of the right buddy, and they'll come up with any recommendation that you want. And those are the people that the city council just approved to negotiate deals for the public and for the city. It's an outrage. It's an inside game that needs to be stopped because there's nothing behind it but buddies that meet at the bar and the restaurant and work their deals.
We don't need development of the downtown for the rich. We need a downtown renewal that will help people to finish high school or finish college or become a homeowner or to get more skills or to take care of the poorest in our society who are the elderly. We don't need a yuppie downtown development that merely kicks out the poor and says, hooray, now we look like Phoenix.